Good morning and welcome back. Today, I need you to stop what you're doing and pay very close attention because what I'm about to share with you could literally change the trajectory of the rest of your life. I'm Dr. Adrian Calloway, host of Dr. Adrian Calloway Vertical Bar Advanced Health, and after more than 2 decades working as a physician specializing in geriatric medicine and longevity research, I've sat across from thousands of patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. I've watched them make the same mistakes over and over again. Mistakes that are quietly stealing their strength, their memory, their independence, and their joy. And the most heartbreaking part? Nobody ever told them they were doing anything wrong. Today, we are changing that. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you already feel it. Maybe it's the stiffness that hits your knees the moment you stand up in the morning. Maybe it's the fog that clouds your thinking until well past noon. Maybe it's the quiet fear that your best years of independence are slipping through your fingers a little faster than you'd like to admit. I want you to know something before we go any further. None of that is simply getting old. Much of it is the result of small, invisible, daily habits. Habits so normal, so woven into your routine that no doctor has ever thought to question them with you. And that is exactly what we're going to fix together, right now. I want you to hear this clearly. A landmark study published by the National Institute on Aging followed over 12,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 for a period of 10 years. What they found was staggering. The participants who eliminated just 3 specific daily habits were 61% less likely to experience significant physical decline, 47% less likely to develop cognitive impairment, and reported quality of life scores nearly double those of their peers. Double. And most of these people made the changes after the age of 70. It is never too late. Before we get into the full list, I want to tease something for you. The number 1 item on today's list is something that almost every senior does, every single morning without even thinking about it. In fact, most doctors have never told their patients to stop. It is that deeply embedded in our culture. So stay with me all the way to the end, because number 1 might genuinely shock you. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me, what is the one health habit you're most proud of in your senior years? I read every single comment on this channel. Every one. Your answers inspire the topics I cover, and they inspire each other. So take a moment, leave a comment, and let's build this community together. Now let's get into it. We're counting down from 7 to 1, ranked from important to absolutely life-changing. Number 7, eating 3 large meals a day. This one sounds harmless. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's what your mother taught you, what every nutrition pamphlet still recommends, and what most of us have done our entire lives. But here's what those pamphlets aren't telling you. After the age of 65, your digestive system undergoes a dramatic slowdown. Gastric acid production drops by nearly 40%. Enzyme output decreases, and your gut's ability to absorb nutrients from large food volumes diminishes significantly. So when you sit down to that big dinner plate, your body isn't processing it the way it did at 40. Researchers at the University of Southern California's Longevity Institute found that seniors who shifted to 4 or 5 smaller, nutrient-dense meals spaced evenly throughout the day showed a 34% improvement in protein synthesis and a 28% reduction in systemic inflammation markers within just 12 weeks. Think of your digestive system after 70 like a smaller engine. It doesn't need less fuel. It needs that fuel delivered in smaller, more frequent batches so it can actually burn it efficiently. I had a patient, Margaret, 74, from Tucson. She came to me exhausted, bloated after every meal, convinced something was seriously wrong. When I reviewed her diet, she was eating 1 small breakfast and then 1 enormous dinner. One of the worst patterns for aging bodies. We restructured her eating into 5 small meals a day, rich in protein and healthy fats, and within 2 months her energy had transformed. She told me she felt like she'd gotten 10 years back. The practical takeaway. Aim for meals every 3 to 4 hours, each containing at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. After 70, your body needs more protein per pound of body weight than it did in your 30s because of something called anabolic resistance. Your muscles simply become less efficient at responding to protein, so you have to give them more to work with. Pair each meal with a small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil or avocado, to help absorb the fat-soluble vitamins critical for bone and immune health. Number 6, taking long, hot showers every day. I can already feel the resistance to this one, but stay with me, because once you understand what's happening to your skin and circulation after 65, you'll never look at your shower the same way. As we age, our skin produces significantly less natural oil. The skin barrier becomes thinner and more fragile, and moisture retention drops. Hot water strips away the remaining lipid barrier, causing something called transepidermal water loss. In plain language, it dries your skin from the inside out. A study from dermatologists at Johns Hopkins found that adults over 65 who took daily hot showers longer than 10 minutes had a 52% higher rate of chronic dry skin, increased inflammatory skin responses, and a measurably weakened immune barrier in the skin. But here's where it gets especially relevant for seniors. Hot showers rapidly dilate blood vessels, causing a sudden drop in blood pressure. After 70, your cardiovascular system compensates for those pressure changes far more slowly, and this is one of the leading, underreported causes of dizziness and falls in the bathroom. Statistically, the most dangerous room in the home for adults over 65. The solution isn't to stop showering. Lower the temperature to warm instead of hot, limit showers to 8 minutes or less, and apply a ceramide-rich moisturizer immediately afterward while skin is still slightly damp. For circulation, try ending your shower with 30 seconds of cool water, a technique called contrast hydrotherapy. Research from the University of Oregon shows it improves vascular tone and reduces next-day fatigue in older adults. Number 5, avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. This is one of the most dangerous myths I encounter in my practice, and it's costing seniors years of functional independence. It sounds logical. If your knees or hips ache, you should rest. But the science tells a completely different story. Muscles and bones exist in partnership. When muscles weaken, they place more stress on joints, not less. Avoiding resistance training after 65 accelerates sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. After 70, the body can lose up to 3% of muscle mass per year without active resistance training. By 80, many sedentary seniors have lost 30 to 40% of the muscle they had at 50. And that muscle is what keeps you upright, keeps you from falling, and keeps your metabolism and bone density intact. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University followed adults between 72 and 98 who did twice-weekly progressive resistance training. After just 10 weeks, participants showed an average 113% increase in strength, improved balance, faster walking speed, and in several cases, reduced joint pain, not increased. The researchers concluded that frailty itself, not age, was the real problem. And frailty is reversible. I worked with a man named Harold, 81, from Baton Rouge. Harold had given up walking more than a block because his knees hurt. We started him on a chair-based resistance program using light bands, just twice a week for 20 minutes. 4 months later, Harold was walking a mile every morning and told me he hadn't felt that free in 15 years. Start with seated resistance exercises using light bands or even body weight, focusing on the large muscle groups: thighs, glutes, back. And here's a synergy tip. Consume your protein meal within 30 minutes after resistance training. That post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to amino acids. And for seniors dealing with anabolic resistance, that timing isn't optional. It's essential. Number 4, relying entirely on reading glasses and avoiding vision training. Here's something most eye doctors never tell you. Vision, like muscle, responds to training. The lens of the eye and the ciliary muscles that control it weaken with age, a condition called presbyopia. Most people simply accept it, get stronger glasses, and assume the decline is inevitable. But the ciliary muscles are still muscles. Research published in Scientific Reports from a team at UC Riverside found that 30 minutes of daily near-far focusing exercises, combined with adequate lutein and zeaxanthin in the diet, produced measurable improvements in reading speed and visual clarity in adults over 60 in a matter of weeks. This won't replace glasses, but it can slow the progression dramatically. Beyond the lens, the brain's visual processing centers also slow with age. After 70, your contrast sensitivity, your ability to distinguish objects from backgrounds in low light, decreases by up to 27%. One of the primary reasons falls happen in dimly lit environments. Training your eyes daily, ensuring adequate zinc and vitamin A intake, and optimizing your home lighting are evidence-based strategies most seniors are simply never given. This is a great moment to pause. If this channel has ever given you information your doctor forgot to mention, take a second right now and hit subscribe and leave a like on this video. It genuinely helps us reach more seniors who need this, and it costs you nothing. Okay, back to the list. Number 3, sleeping more than 9 hours or relying on sleep aids regularly. This one surprises people because we always hear sleep is healing, and it is. But the relationship between sleep and aging is far more nuanced than most people realize, and getting it wrong is quietly devastating brain health in millions of seniors. A massive study from Harvard Medical School that followed over 14,000 adults over 8 years found that seniors who regularly slept more than 9 hours a night had a 46% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. This isn't because sleep is harmful. It's because chronically long sleep is often a symptom of poor sleep quality, not restorative rest. Fragmented cycles, reduced deep sleep, and insufficient REM sleep fail to clear the metabolic waste that accumulates in the brain daily. Your brain has a literal cleaning system, the glymphatic system. Think of it as a nighttime sanitation crew washing through the brain, removing debris, including amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. But this system only operates effectively during deep sleep, and it's most active in the first 6 to 7 hours. Spending 9 or 10 hours in bed often means hours of fragmented light sleep that produces none of this critical cleaning. As for sleep aids, including over-the-counter antihistamine-based products like diphenhydramine, the research is alarming. A study in JAMA Internal Medicine found a significant correlation between regular use of anticholinergic sleep aids and increased dementia risk in older adults. These medications cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce acetylcholine, the key neurotransmitter for memory and cognition, and with repeated use, they can cause lasting changes in brain chemistry. I had a patient named Dorothy, 78, from Portland. Dorothy was sleeping 10 hours a night and still waking up exhausted. She'd been taking a common sleep aid for 3 years, and her cognitive assessments showed a quiet decline. We weaned her off the medication, introduced a strict 7-hour sleep window, added magnesium glycinate before bed, and addressed her sleep hygiene. Within 4 months, her cognitive scores improved, her energy increased, and she told me the fog she'd been living in for years had finally started to lift. If sleep is a struggle for you, focus on consistent sleep and wake times. A cool room between 65 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit, no screens for 60 minutes before bed, and 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate 30 minutes before sleep. Pair it with chamomile or passion flower tea for a natural synergy that supports GABA, the brain's calming neurotransmitter, without the dangerous side effects. Number 2, drinking less water because you feel less thirsty. This may be the most overlooked health crisis among seniors today, and it's dangerous precisely because it's invisible. You do not feel it happening. As we age, the hypothalamus, the part of the brain regulating thirst, becomes progressively less sensitive. By 70, most adults have a significantly blunted thirst response, meaning you can be clinically dehydrated and feel completely fine. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that up to 40% of community-dwelling seniors over 70 are chronically mildly dehydrated and have no idea. Does mild dehydration really matter that much? The answer is devastating. Even mild chronic dehydration in seniors is linked to a 30% increase in urinary tract infections, a leading cause of sudden cognitive decline and hospitalization in the elderly. It raises the risk of kidney stones, constipation, and dangerous medication concentration in the blood, since many common medications are water-soluble and rely on adequate hydration to maintain proper blood levels. It also directly impairs cognitive function. Research from King's College London found that even 1 to 2% dehydration, which you cannot feel, measurably reduces short-term memory, concentration, and reaction time in older adults. Your skin, your joints, the discs between your vertebrae, your eyes. All of them depend on adequate hydration to function properly. After 75, your kidney's ability to concentrate urine decreases significantly, meaning you excrete more water relative to your intake, and you need more water than you think to stay balanced. The target for most seniors is a minimum of 6 to 8 cups of water a day, spread consistently rather than consumed in large amounts at once. Keep a 32-ounce water bottle visible at all times and commit to finishing it twice by the end of the day. Add a small pinch of Himalayan salt or a sugar-free electrolyte supplement to 1 glass daily to improve cellular absorption, and pair this with hydrating foods like cucumbers, watermelon, and leafy greens, which provide structured water that absorbs more efficiently than plain water alone. And now, the moment I promised you. Number 1. The one thing almost every senior does every single morning that is quietly eroding their health, their brain, and their independence. That thing is sitting within 30 minutes of waking up. I know you didn't see that coming. Here's what the science shows, and it's genuinely remarkable. The human body has a cortisol awakening response. In the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol, your primary stress and alertness hormone, surges naturally by 50 to 100% above baseline. This is your body's biological alarm clock, preparing your cardiovascular system, brain, and muscles for the day ahead. For seniors, this window is one of the most powerful biological events of the entire day. When you sit down immediately after waking, in a chair with your coffee, at the breakfast table, or on the couch with the television, you signal to your body that the day's physical demands are already over. Research from the University of Queensland, published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, analyzed activity patterns of over 5,000 adults over 65 and found that those sedentary in the first hour after waking had significantly higher rates of metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular events, and cognitive decline over a 5-year follow-up, independent of how much they exercised later in the day. Here's the deeper mechanism that makes this especially critical for aging bodies. Cortisol is anti-inflammatory during this morning surge. It suppresses joint stiffness, clears residual sleep-related inflammation in your tissues, and primes your muscles for engagement. When you sit still through this window, the cortisol has nowhere to go. It circulates without serving its purpose, and chronically misused cortisol is directly linked to increased visceral fat, bone density loss, and impaired immune function. Additionally, this same window is when your muscles are most sensitive to movement-induced signals for growth and repair. Research from Maastricht University in the Netherlands showed that light physical activity immediately after waking increased muscle protein synthesis rates throughout the entire day in adults over 65, even when the movement was gentle and brief. A 10-minute slow walk, light stretching, standing exercises, gentle movement that wakes the body the way it was designed to be woken. I want to tell you about Robert, 77, from Nashville. He'd been retired for 12 years and had settled into a deeply ingrained morning routine. Wake up, pour coffee, sit in his recliner, watch the morning news for an hour, then eat breakfast. He told me he had no energy. His joints ached for the first 2 hours of every day, and he felt mentally foggy until early afternoon. His blood work showed elevated inflammatory markers, pre-diabetic glucose levels, and low testosterone for his age. We made one change, just one. For 21 days, Robert committed to a 10-minute walk outside within 15 minutes of waking, before the coffee, before the chair, before the television. Then he'd come back and have his breakfast and coffee as usual. Within 3 weeks, Robert called my office, and I will never forget what he said. "Dr. Calloway, I feel like someone turned a light back on inside me." His morning joint stiffness had reduced dramatically. His midday energy had improved. His fasting glucose had dropped. One change, 10 minutes, 21 days. The synergy pairing for this habit is natural light. The moment you step outside or stand at a bright window during that morning movement, you trigger a serotonin release timed perfectly with the cortisol awakening response. This combination sets your circadian rhythm for the entire day, improves nighttime melatonin production, stabilizes your mood, and has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of seasonal depression in older adults. Morning movement plus morning light is one of the most powerful, free, side effect-free interventions in all of longevity medicine, and almost no one is talking about it. All the references for the studies I've mentioned today are linked in the description below, and I encourage you to read them. Now, let me bring this home for you, because this isn't just about biology and statistics. This is about your life. This is about whether you spend the next decade watching it happen from a chair, or whether you are present, capable, independent, and genuinely alive in every room you walk into. I have watched patients in their late 80s reverse conditions their previous doctors told them were permanent. I've watched people who could barely walk across a parking lot become daily walkers within months. I've watched cognitive clarity return to people who had begun to feel afraid of their own minds. And in every single case, the turning point was not a medication, not a surgery, not a miracle. It was information. The right information, applied consistently. You have that information now. 7 changes that cost nothing, require no prescription, and can begin today. Your body is not betraying you. It is responding to the inputs it's given. Change the inputs, and you will be amazed at what this incredible human body of yours still has the capacity to do. If this video reached you at the right moment, if something here connected with where you are in your life right now, please share it with someone you love who needs to hear it. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, this is your invitation. We publish new research-backed content every week, specifically designed for adults over 60 who refuse to accept that decline is inevitable, because it is not. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join a community of people choosing to live fully at every age. And now I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, which of these 7 habits are you going to work on first? And what's one thing you've already changed in your senior years that made a real difference? I'll be reading every single response, and your story might just inspire the next video. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.